As a matter of law, we have moved, as of last year, to a requirement that official emails be used for official business. But we have to evaluate and consider the secretary under the standard of what was the law at the time. And the law at the time was she could use her personal email as long as she preserved it. And given the fact that she provided 55,000 pages, she clearly did preserve her emails. And mind you, this was not provided in response to a New York Times article or anything else. This was provided last year when a request went out from the State Department to all former secretaries, and she has given more records than any other prior Secretary of State.
Yes, but which records is she actually giving? Welcome back to MidPoint. Back with us is political commentator and co-author of the book Power Grab, Dick Morris. Also joining us now, an investigative reporter with the Washington Examiner, is Sarah Westwood. And Sarah, let's start with you. We're anticipating that we're going to hear from Hillary Clinton today. If you were getting to ask her a question, what would be your first question?
My first question, I suppose, would be whether or not she did turn over all responsive emails. Right now, the State Department's official position has been to defer to Hillary Clinton's staff on whether or not she turned over all of her relevant emails. But the State Department just has to take her at her word right now. And so I suppose I would want to know whether or not she would respond to a subpoena of the actual physical servers that are housing all of these emails that the State Department definitely does not have.
Yeah, where are those servers? And Dick, you know, Hillary Clinton, she's expected again to address, or at least make a statement on this, we hope. But the Clinton inner circle has been out trying to get in front of this, even though she hasn't spoken about it. James Carville yesterday had some things to say. Let's take a listen.
It was legal. It wasn't against regulations. Colin Powell and Jeb Bush did the same thing. But oh my God, do you remember Whitewater? Do you remember Foulgate? You remember Travelgate? You remember Pardongate? You remember Benghazi? All of this is just the same cockamamie stuff that we go through. The Times get something from some right-wing talking points. They print the story. They got to walk the story back, and everybody, the chin scratchers, go, "Oh my God!" But well, the story's not right. But it says something larger about the Clintons. This is never going to end. We've lived with this for 20 years. We'll live with it for the rest of the campaign. It's all about nothing.
Well, Dick, you worked in the Clinton White House. Is Carville right? Is it ever going to end?
Are those comments taped and re-recorded and rebroadcast, or is this original? He's been saying this after each scandal.
Yeah, he alluded to that in his comment.
Look, the fundamental issue here is not did Hillary break the law by the private server. It's did she break the law by having classified information on the private server. And having classified information on a private server is the same crime, and I use the word crime, as has resulted in the punishment and in some cases indictment of General Petraeus, Sandy Berger, Petraeus, Berger, and one other, I'm sorry. But the point is that it's the head of the CIA, John Deutsch. Those are pretty high-level people, and they each took classified information home with them on an unguarded server, and that is a non-State Department server. And they were some prosecuted, and in some cases convicted, and in all cases punished. Petraeus had to pay $40,000. Berger was banned from public office for a period, and Deutsch had to be pardoned by the president. That is what we need to zero in on. And the question of was it illegal or against regulations to take home the server or to have a house server in your house is irrelevant.
Right, and Sarah,
she's not the Secretary of Interior. This is the Secretary of State.
And Dick makes a good point about this classified information, and a lot of that has been lost, and most of the coverage of this story, everybody's concerned about the secrecy here with Hillary Clinton. Why don't we hear more about the aspect of the classified documents possibly stored at the Clintons' home that wouldn't be on the proper encrypted or secure type of server?
Well, you know, I think the secrecy and the classification issues go hand in hand. Hillary Clinton, her first response to this was to tweet that she wanted the State Department to review her emails for release, but that misses the whole point. If the State Department has to screen these emails that were on her personal server for sensitive national security information, then she's incriminating herself for using sensitive national security information on her server. She can either release them all right now because there's no sensitive information on them, or then her defenders are not being truthful and there was sensitive information on those servers. So those kinds of questions with the Freedom of Information Act are going to put her between a rock and a hard place when it comes to security on her servers.
I think we also have to realize that this is just the opening scandal, or in Bob Dylan's phrase, the opening farewell. Because
to go back to Carville's point,
I'm sorry. When we drill down through these classified emails, we're going to find gobs of information about Benghazi, about climate change, about negotiations with Iran, about the reset with Russia, about the NSA scandal, about wiretapping foreign leaders. There are going to be a dozen scandals that are going to flow from this. And this will not reach its denouement until 2016, by which time it'll be too late for the Democrats to change horses, because the filing period will have expired.
So you don't think we're watching the beginning of the end of the Hillary Clinton 2016 campaign before it even started? You think she'll get through this okay?
No, the opposite. We are watching the beginning of the end. I think before now and the end, you're going to get Elizabeth Warren under pressure from Democrats to put her name on the ballot so there's an alternative to Hillary. Right now, they've got no understudy for this role.
Right.
And if it fails, they don't open on Broadway.
And Sarah, very telling, too, that a lot of the would-be rivals for Hillary Clinton are pretty quiet about this whole situation. Haven't heard much from Bernie Sanders, haven't heard much from Elizabeth Warren, haven't heard much from Martin O'Malley, and I don't know if there's anybody else on the list.
Well, Webb.
Jim Webb, right, yeah.
It's the answer to a trivia contest.
What do you think, Sarah?
You know, I think it's right now smart for everyone to stay silent. We have to wait and see what Hillary herself has to say about these emails. I think it's too early to definitively say whether this will be the end of, her campaign. But what I think is important to keep in mind is the greater scandal that was starting to emerge before the emails, which was the donations to her foundation. I think that is something that she cannot run away from. Her name is literally on the foundation. I think in the end that might be the thing that gets her. And these emails could reveal more about how involved she was with the foreign donations to her foundation when she was Secretary of State.
That's a great point. And it's not just the foundation, Sarah. It's the personal speaking fees paid to, in effect, to Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, we'll have to see,
when you give money
Dick,
to Bill, you're giving it to Hillary as well.
We'll have to see if that comes up
basically bribes
during the conference today, but we are about to run out of time here, but I want to make sure we had enough time to say a proper goodbye to everybody. Sarah Westwood from the National Examiner, thanks so much for being with us, and also make sure you check out Dick's new book, which is available right now pretty much everywhere. You can get it. It's Power Grab. You can also visit powergrab411.com. When we come back, one of 5 scientists who met with Florida Governor Rick Scott last August. We won't say the words out of respect for the governor, but they sound like global warming or glorming or something like that. We're back with more MidPoint right after this.